Hello guys, welcome to Easy Bakes with Leahmwai, where you get to learn the easiest home baking recipes. Today's video will be an Oreo cake that I tried out over the weekend, and it was my very first time baking it. This will be my second baking escapade on this channel, and I hope that you're going to enjoy the video and that you're also going to try it at home. The Oreo cake came out very dense, it was crunchy and flavorful, and therefore I'll definitely bake it again. So make sure that you stay tuned, and I hope that you enjoy. The first ingredient you are going to use is the Oreo biscuits, because they are the key ingredients of the cake. And in my case I used 4 of them because that's all I had. You can probably add more, but make sure that the quantity should add up to 1 cup. That should be like the maximum. So you're going to crush them into tiny bits, and I used a knife, but as you can see it was proving to be difficult. So probably you can have your biscuits in a bowl and crush them using the base of a glass, and it will be easier for you. Once that is done, I'm going to take my margarine. The recipe I used called for butter, but since I couldn't access butter, I had to use the margarine, and I went in with 3/4 cup of a margarine. Since I started baking, all my cakes have been oil-based, but I'm learning the butter-based cake, so mostly all my baking escapades will be butter-based. So I'm going to beat the margarine until it's pale and fluffy, as you're going to see. So once I've achieved that, I'm going to go in with 1 cup of sugar, followed by about a teaspoon of vanilla essence. This is completely optional, but in case you're going to use vanilla essence, make sure that you also go in with about 2 pinches of salt. The salt in this case just helps to enhance the flavor. So I'm going to go through with a spatula before beating everything to be completely combined. When baking with butter or margarine in this case, it's going to be a bit hectic when you use a whisk, but it can still be done, only that you'll require to give it a little bit more effort. So in case you are willing to try out as many recipes as possible, I'll advise that you get yourself a hand mixer. Afterwards, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of plain yogurt. This will make the cake to be dense because you're going to have our Oreos, and since they're going to be crunchy, we don't want the cake to be so light and fluffy. I'll also add 1/2 cup of wholemeal, of which you're going to see later, but I decided not to add it at this point because, as it happened with the pineapple upside down cake, when you have too much wet ingredients with butter or margarine in this case, it's going to clump, and I don't want that to happen. So I'll again go in with 2 eggs and beat them until they are mixed. As you can see, the margarine has already started to clump, so you can imagine if we added milk at this point. By now you already know the drill. We have to sift our dry ingredients, and so I'm going to sift 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And then I'm going to also add 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm going to sift them in batches of 3. and I'm going to just rush this process so that we can get to the point where we mix the wet and the dry ingredients. After the dry ingredients are mixed, I'm going to add my half a cup of milk, after which I'm now going to mix together with the other wet ingredients until everything is completely combined. So once your wet and dry ingredients are mixed, you're now going to add in your crushed Oreos, and you're going to mix everything together, ready for baking. At this point, I decided to also try making Oreo cupcakes, and as you can see there, I have my dusted baking tin and also my cupcake holders. So I just put in the cupcake papers, and I'm going to use 2 spoons to fill them with the cake mix. I later decided to make sure that I fill the cupcakes, but this was not a good idea because once the cake started to rise, it spilled over and it was not that pleasant at all, as you're going to see. And now for the rest of the mixture, I'm going to put in my dusted baking tin, and by now I've already preheated my oven at 180 degrees Celsius. Always make sure that before you bake, your oven is preheated so that once you put your mixture into the oven, it's ready to start baking. This was the result for the Oreo cupcakes. They browned a bit too much on top because of staying in the oven for long, but the inside was good and everyone loved them. Also, the cupcakes spilled over because I filled the paper too much, as you can already identify from some of them. However, the cake turned out completely fine. I loved the way it was brown all over, and also it had its shape because it was firm from us using the plain yogurt. I've really enjoyed sharing with you this baking escapade, and I hope that you're also going to try it out at home. And as for those who've been trying out the other recipes and sharing with me their journeys and their outcomes, make sure that you don't give up. And for those who've aced it, keep on keeping on. And also for those who've not started, make sure that you try out at least one recipe. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.